Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to be going over two different stories on the subject of weight gain in relationships. And the first story, guys, is about a guy. He's about 30 years old, and he tells his story of how he and his girlfriend, she's been his girlfriend for like 7 years and always been thin and in shape and all that, pretty much out of nowhere starts putting on a bunch of weight, okay? And as a result of that weight gain, she stopped being the same person. She started being really insecure, dressing like very thick clothes, not being her usual self. And as you can imagine, his attraction for her has taken a nosedive, and they're not having sex very often. He's not wanting to have sex. Definitely a problem. He then decides it's a good idea to propose to her, thinking that'll make her feel better about herself and get some help. And she ended up putting way more weight on. Right? And now they're not having any sex at all. He's not attracted to her whatsoever. But the guy obviously really loves her because prior to all this, she's been great and all that. But the guy, he's a classic nice guy and everything like that. And he's been trying to help her in a way by talking to her and trying to get her to go to the gym with him and all that. And it's just not working. And now he's at a crossroads like, what the hell do I do? Because he doesn't want to be obviously married to a woman he's not attracted to and not sleeping with, because that's not a romantic relationship. Second story, guys, is written from a woman, and she's telling the story about her situation as well with a guy she's been with. He pretty much in 1 year put on 100 pounds, okay? And she is just, she obviously takes care of herself, and he was even a little overweight before, but she didn't care, and she still loved him and all that. But now she's lost attraction for him. That just is gone too far. The guy, all he does is sit on his ass and stuff his face, and she's completely turned off. And I guess some of you guys may say, hey, SSM, you should only be talking about guys, and you shouldn't be talking about this. Well, you know what? It goes both ways. I'm going to come down hard on women about their bullshit, and I'm going to come down hard on guys for their bullshit. There's no excuse for anybody letting themselves go and being that horribly out of shape, overweight, and all that stuff, because it's horribly unhealthy and bad for so many different reasons. So it goes both ways. I'm going to call everybody on their crap. Okay? Now, before I get into this, this must be said. I'm definitely going to get some hate because of this video, the things I talk about and the opinions I have on this subject, because we all know darn well that this world seems to be going more out of whack every day, where up is down, down is up, where people that are successful and as a result of that success make a lot of money, have a lot of money, are now kind of demonized because they have success and wealth. Meanwhile, people that don't really do anything with their lives and barely have two nickels to rub together, but are following their passion, they're the ones that are revered compared to the guys that actually work their butt off and have taken a lot of risks and sacrifices for their own success. Also, in today's crazy world, people that are obviously very healthy and eat very well and take care of themselves and go to the gym and make sacrifices for their time to live that lifestyle, they're made out to be the bad guys, while people that let themselves go, don't exercise, gain a ton of weight, have unhealthy lifestyle, the mindset now is that, they should love themselves and blah, 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 and you shouldn't give them a hard time about that and things like that. Meanwhile, as a result of that bad lifestyle and being overweight, things like heart disease, diabetes, to name a couple, are going to come along and definitely shorten their life. Okay, but God forbid anybody talks about that, or God forbid if somebody actually takes action to lose the weight and get themselves healthier, they're demonized too. It's crazy, but this is the world we live in. But I'm doing this video, guys, because a lot of you guys that do relationships, and I know there's plenty of guys that watch me, either have gotten in a situation like this, are in a situation like this, or may find yourself in a situation like this where your girlfriend or boyfriend or fiance, whatever, this happens to them. So I'm going to bring this up so you can see it's not just you that's in this situation and have some ideas how to handle it. So, first story is about the guy and his girl putting on all the weight. And it starts off, he says, I'm a 31-year-old male and I'm getting bitter with my fiancés, a 30-year-old female, weight gain, and I don't know what to do. Help. He says, I've been engaged to my fiancé for 6 months, who is an absolute wonderful person. I love her dearly, and we have a lot of fun together. She'll make a great mother and makes me laugh in a way no one else can. I want to emphasize this because I want to know if few comments will call that into question after what I'm about to write. He says, let's call her Mary. We've been together for 7 years, and she's always been naturally slim without having to work out. Obviously, as we progress through our 20s, our metabolism slows down a bit. A year prior to our engagement, she put on about 20 pounds. This hit her pretty hard and created a lot of insecurity about her body. She started layering herself up in thick sweaters or super baggy t-shirts and sweats. Trying to be the supportive boyfriend, I'd kiss her and tell her that I love her when she was feeling down and not fitting into an old pair of jeans. That said, as supportive as I was, I began to feel bitter about her lack of resolve to fix it. We'd casually talk about it, and I'd suggest she comes out jogging with me, to which she'd initially agree, but then go and become defensive and moody when the time came to actually go. So, like I said at the beginning, everything was cool, she was looking good, and all of a sudden, boom. Now, you say 20 pounds. Now, some people might say 20 pounds, that's not that big a deal. Yeah, but if she's like really short and petite, like 5 feet tall or 5'1", 20 pounds is a big deal, okay? And see, this guy, obviously, he still loves her. He's a good guy, and he's trying to talk to her about this and help her. Well, it's not working, and she's obviously unhappy as well, okay? Wait till you see what happens next. I consulted a couple of close female friends of mine who thought she might feel insecure about not being married yet. I feel manipulation in progress. Most of her friends were already married or about to be, and she might feel a little down. Right or wrong, this was suggested more than once, so I figured it could have a grain of truth to it. I planned on doing it anyways. I proposed on her birthday while we were both on vacation in Florida, and thankfully she said yes. Both of our families were thrilled. So the girlfriends did their part in trying to manipulate this guy to propose to her. That she's gaining all this weight because she's upset that the other ones are engaged or married or on their way to the altar. Now, the guy says he was going to do it anyway, but still, regardless, what I tell you guys about asking women for advice about women? Ding, 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 there you go. He says, fast forward 6 months, she's probably put on another 25 pounds. The situation has become worse, and rather than becoming more secure in our relationship, she's become more comfortable. She's dressing even more plainly and becoming even more insecure. I hate to say it, but her insecurity has become such a massive turnoff, I don't even initiate sex anymore. She rarely does. So this guy's being the good guy. He was being very supportive in the beginning, even though she put on like 20 pounds, which, again, if she's really short, it's really going to show. And he's trying to help her and all that. And he ends up proposing to her. And how does she thank him? She puts on 25 more pounds. Because, now there could be a lot of psychological issues going on here. I don't know. But the bottom line is this. I know when people become very comfortable in their situation, they stop trying. And that's what it kind of sounds like to me. She knew he proposed to her even after she put on the weight. So in her mind, she may think that now it's now safe. I can do what I want now. Not cool. Okay, because this guy, as you're going to see, obviously, he's trying. He takes care of himself, but she's not. And now he's not turned on by her and actually want to have sex with her. And if you're if you're a couple and you're not hooking up, then it's no longer a romantic relationship. It's a friendship. Okay, there's nothing romantic going on there. And this guy obviously doesn't want that. So what the hell is the point of getting married, right? I mean, I make it clear, don't get married anyway. That's a whole other conversation, which I have in other videos. But really, in this situation, what's the point? And probably also she's doing this because she probably knows this guy doesn't have a whole lot of options. If this woman knew this guy had lots of options, if he was obviously a catch and a lot of other women wanted him, he had a high SMV, so to speak, do you think she'd let herself go like this? I think not. He goes on, I'm not saying she has to be a swimsuit model, but I resent the fact that she doesn't even try to woo or turn me on. She owns sexy clothing, but just doesn't want to wear it anymore. In fact, she's replaced it with even more modest clothing. Well, she probably can't fit into the sexy clothing anymore, and if she did, it wouldn't look too appealing. After a double date where my friend's wife joked about having sex 12 times a day, my fiancé was quiet on the drive home. I could tell something was bothering her. I asked her what was wrong, and she asked why I rarely initiate sex anymore. Come on. She's actually asking that question. She knows darn well why. If she's put on like 45 pounds in a very short period of time, and again, if she's short, the guy's going to be turned off. And by the way, for the people watching this now that want to hate on me for talking about this, as I've said before in many videos, men are visual creatures. We are attracted to what we see. And so if somebody suddenly who's once thin and attractive gains a bunch of weight, we're not going to be as attractive anymore. And there's a point where there's going to be zero attraction. That's just how nature designed us to be. So before anybody wants to hate on me for talking about the obvious that we all know, just understand about men. And by the way, if any women want to hate on me for what I'm saying here, then let me ask you this question. How come, to the women that are hating on me for saying this, how come that you're not dating a guy who makes minimum wage and as a barista at Starbucks or works the checkout counter at Target or Walmart? Even though the guy's a really nice guy and likes you and treats you well, how come you're not dating that guy? I'll tell you why, because he's probably making minimum wage or not much above that, and you obviously want a guy with more success and all that. You have what you're attracted to. We have what we're attracted to. So don't judge us. Just mean to point that out there. She asked why I rarely initiate sex anymore. It took the wind right out of me, and I was definitely caught off guard. What was I going to say? That she got fat and I'd rather just masturbate when she's at work? I obviously hadn't crafted an answer that wouldn't crush her already waning self-esteem. So I blamed it on stress at work. She quietly nodded and stared out the window for most of the ride home. I felt awful. Well, this guy's obviously a good guy, but this guy's obviously too nice. He has every right to stand up for himself and say what he's got to say. But he needs to have a real serious sit down with her, or worse, if things obviously continue on this path. He goes on, I can't imagine myself being in a sexless, attractionless marriage. I love her to death, but I don't want the weight gain and the frumpy, insecure dressing in the slightest bit sexy, or he doesn't find that sexy. I put effort into my body and want her to be turned on. I'm so resentful she doesn't feel compelled to do the same for me. She even said that if we ever broke up, she'd have to lose some weight first before ever dating again. What the hell? Why not start now? I'm bitter that apparently I'm not good enough reason to take care of your own body. So right there she said, according to him, that if they broke up, she'd have to lose some weight before she could start dating again. So she could do it, but she's not because she's too comfortable. She knows, in her view, right now in this moment, she feels safe enough with this guy that he's not going anywhere. So she doesn't have to lift her finger and do anything. Believe me, if she knew that he would drop her like that, and he had lots of options with women, I guarantee you this would not have happened. And if it did, this guy would have been gone a long time ago. It's unfortunate, guys, but I'm teaching human nature here. I'm being good, bad, or ugly, whether people want to hear it or not. Human nature can be a pretty ugly thing. And when people feel used to something, they feel comfortable, they're not going to work as hard. This is why a lot of people that they get into relationships, I've seen this with people I know, friends and all that, and family. They are healthy and athletic before, and they get together with somebody and they get that relationship gut going where all of a sudden they're not going to the gym as much, they're not taking care of their bodies as much, they're eating like crap, and they gain a bunch of weight because they feel comfortable and safe. Not a good way to go. What do I do? We've already spoken before with kid gloves about the weight gain when she never used the gym after I bought her a pass. But I feel trapped. I could not imagine myself dumping the woman I love because she got fat. But this is how I feel. She doesn't have to become a gym rat, but a little cardio 2 or 3 days a week wouldn't kill her and would do wonders for our sex life. So how do I handle this next time she asks me about initiating sex? Is breaking up with her over this jumping the gun? I'd say so, but I would love to hear your thoughts. How do I come to terms with an attractionless relationship if I'm not convinced she'll start working on her weight? Well, this guy can handle this in 3 ways. But before I go into it, I agree with him saying that he doesn't need a fitness model or a Victoria's Secret model, but he wants her to obviously be thin, and like she was before, and that's not an unreasonable thing to ask, especially since this guy works hard, he goes to the gym, he takes care of himself. It's not unreasonable. It's also not unreasonable for him to want to be attracted to his woman. Okay, and he has every right to say, look, I don't want to get married to her if I'm going to spend the whole time with zero attraction for her, no sex, none of that, okay? Because that's not a actual romantic relationship. You're just buddies hanging out. So how can he handle this? I would say he's pretty much got 3 options. Number 1, he does nothing and keeps doing what he's doing, and the odds are she'll just keep putting on weight, and he'll be unhappy and not having sex, and it'll be a crappy relationship or marriage. Well, he doesn't want that, so that's not going to work. Option 2, he ends it. He walks away. He ends the engagement. He breaks up with her. He says, look, I've been trying to help with you. I've been trying to work with you, but you don't want to do it. You obviously are letting yourself go. You're obviously too comfortable with me. It's not fair to me. I'm sorry. I love you. I wish you all the best, but it's gone too far. But then he's obviously going to feel awful about it because he obviously loves her and he's a good guy and he remembers all the good times. And he's going to get a whole lot of hate from family and friends and all that. But at the end of the day, that could be too much for a nice guy like him. Or option 3, he could sit her down and have a serious talk and basically in as kind of words as he could muster and basically say, baby, I love you. I want to spend the rest of my life with you, but the weight gain is too much. It's destroyed our relationship, our sex life. I want to help you. If it means meeting with a therapist to talk about what was really going on there, I support you. I'll be there for you. If it means hiring a nutritionist to help you get back on a plan, I'll help you. If it means going to the gym, I'll go with you. I'll help you. But you got 6 months. You got 6 months to make a serious dent in things, to show me you're serious. Otherwise, I'm out of here. I can't do this. I can't be in a relationship like this. And go from there. But he postpones the engagement. The problem with that is that she may initially go along with that. Let's just say she really thinks he's gone. Let's just say she goes along with this and loses the weight. But then he can get married to her, and guess what happens? The second that ring's on her finger, boom, the weight goes back on because of divorce laws, because of the family courts here in the US of A, she's going to make out like a bandit. So ultimately, if this was me in my situation, based on what I know, after many moons on this planet, I'd end it. Okay, I would tell her why. I would say, I've been trying. It's not going to work. I'm sorry. I love you and care about you, but I got to do what's best for me. I wish you all the best, blah, blah, blah. And then see what happens. And I guarantee you, one of two things are going to happen. She's going to put on a bunch of weight, be miserable, or she'll end up losing weight and then getting her life in order. Who knows? But life is short, guys. You got to do what's best for you. Now, I'm going to go into the second story, guys, and this is the perspective of a woman, where her situation is just like the guy right before. Her boyfriend has put on a shitload of weight, not doing what he needs to be done, and you're going to see in the end what kind of crazy crap's really going on with her boyfriend here. So, her story is, she's 23, and she says, my fiance has gotten way too overweight and now having second thoughts about marriage. We've been together since we were 18. He proposed last April, to which I was so happy about. Back then, he was overweight by maybe 50 pounds. He gained this over the course of college. While it's, of course, not great, it also wasn't a deal breaker for me. I still enjoyed having sex with him, and he was still active enough that we could go live a normal life and have fun together. So far, she sounds like a pretty good girl and good girlfriend. He's already overweight, and he's probably really tall too if it's 50 pounds overweight and he's still not, doesn't think it's that bad. But she's obviously with him. She's hooking up with him and obviously loves him. Sounds like a good girl. They're rare, but sounds like a good one. So she says, since then, he's gone on to gain nearly 100 more pounds in a little over a year. He weighs over 300 pounds. It's ridiculous at this point. I completely understand eating a crappy cafeteria, vending machine, microwave diet when you're in college. Plus the stress and late nights of studying or partying, where snacking is standard. But this far exceeds that. His habits didn't improve after college, they just got worse. 100 pounds in 1 year is insane. Going from 200 to 300 pounds in a year, if his doctor saw this, the doctor, if it was a good doctor, would lose their damn mind, okay? This guy, I know what's going to happen here. I know because I read this story, what's going on with this guy, supposedly. But anybody does that drastically, something is going on up here. And it is for this guy. Anybody that lets himself go that much, and especially a guy, in my opinion, because I'm a guy too, needs a good verbal kick in the ass. That's what he needs. I've lived with him since our junior year and can attest that he eats far more junk food now, not less. Despite me shopping and making healthy, appropriated size meals for the both of us, not complaining about that, I actually love cooking and trying new recipes. I'm just pointing out he won't eat healthy even though he doesn't have to put any effort to do so. Again, this sounds like a cool girl. Number one, she can cook, which is more rare nowadays because in today's world it seems beneath a lot of women because, God forbid, the old traditional stereotypes that a woman cooks. This woman cooks and likes doing that. I like this girl. Also, Also, fuck food delivery apps. Seriously. No hate at all to the drivers trying to make some money, but on the customer end, I feel like the sheer 24/7 instant access to fast food has almost become a crutch to him. He has to order something almost every day. Never mind the hole it's drilling in our budget. He can't seem to resist the constant availability, knowing he can get whatever he wants, whenever he wants it, without even having to leave the house. This far predates quarantine, by the way. So when I first read this, I thought maybe he's been home because of the whole COVID quarantine thing, and he's depressed, so he's eating a lot of junk food and all that shit. Well, maybe that's what started it, who knows, but you're going to find out what really is going on. But this is going on long before that. I can feel my sexual interest dwindling by the day. It feels horrible because I still love him for the person he is, but the physical part just isn't there anymore. It's a lack we both notice. The problem is, he's not particularly motivated to do anything about it because his sex drive has decreased in an inverse relationship to his weight gain. He basically figures we're just equally not feeling like having much sex these days. He doesn't connect that he's doing something to cause this. It's not just a fluke. And it's not only about his size either. It's also his tendency to just sit on the couch, on his laptop, snacking all day. We used to do much more things together. I've tried many times to get him to do stuff I know he's interested in, or used to be, but he usually turns it down in favor of the internet. I find it hard to find attraction to him when that's all he does all day. So guys, you can see that you can get a woman, if she really, in a woman's way of doing things, loves a guy and is attracted to him even though he's overweight, and she'll stay with him, as you're seeing here. But there's a point where enough's enough. It's too much. And also the fact that this guy is doing nothing but sit on his butt on the couch, play on the internet, probably watch TV, and eat junk. Okay? Women want a guy that obviously are taking action to better themselves in life, doing things interesting, have an active life, not sitting on their butt all the time doing nothing. But this guy also, like the woman in the above thing, is too comfortable. He knows he's got it made with her. She's not going anywhere. She'll put up with my crap, and he's lazy. And should she have to put up with this shit because she's obviously taking care of herself and all that? Hell no. It goes both ways, guys. The guy in the above story with the girl, he's trying, but he shouldn't have to put up with this stuff after a certain point. Neither should she. It goes on. I tried talking to him about this. He alternates between saying he's not that overweight and saying that it's not a big deal because he doesn't have any medical problems. I beg to differ on that one, buddy. But he can't know that for certain because he hasn't been to a doctor in a while. In general, he sidesteps my worries by making jokes and acting really casual about it. Our wedding plans are pending due to COVID, but we decided we'll probably go ahead with just a small official ceremony in September. Being so close to making this commitment to him, as he is right now, is seriously starting to give me pause. I don't want my husband to be like this for the rest of his life. I don't want him to die young, 100 pounds in a year. So where is he by the time he's 30 at this rate? This is completely reasonable. I don't blame her in the least. I'm not sure why he doesn't see a problem. He seems content with how things are. He says he isn't depressed. I haven't pushed it, but I did ask a couple times, and he didn't seem to understand why I was asking. Why she was asking? She has a very good reason to ask this. 100 pounds in a goddamn year? Something's obviously up. I do know depression or other mental illness can cause things like this, and I know depression cannot always be seen by the people around you, but we are quite emotionally open with each other. He's never been a guy who struggles to talk about his feelings or problems, so this is unusual to me. He's caring towards me, goofy and chipper as always in his daily attitude. His hygiene is fine. You wouldn't think anything was different if not for how he eats garbage and usually doesn't want to do anything that will take him away from his computer or his phone for more than an hour. Could he still be depressed, do you think? What do I do about this? If he is struggling with something, I want to support him. On the other hand, if it's just laziness and not caring, I honestly don't think I can deal with that if it never changed. How do I tell the difference? I don't blame this girl in the least. About this. Now, she's now going to provide an update as to what's been really going on, and you guys aren't going to believe what this really is. What she's going to describe, what she found out the cause for all this for him, is new to me. I learn something new every day, and this is another new thing I can add to the list. And my views on people and human nature. She says, well, here goes, not a great update. I took a number of suggestions of what to bring up to him and how to have the conversation about my concerns. He did the usual thing of trying to brush it off. I persisted, much more than I had before. Eventually, I got my wish. He finally told the truth. Not easily, mind that this was a several hour-long ordeal. He did not want to come clean about anything. As it turns out, he has a weight gain fetish. Not me or someone else gaining weight, which I already knew was a thing, but him gaining weight. He's been doing all this on purpose for years. He said the beginning was unintentional, just eating too much junk at college. Then he realized he liked it. He also realized if he let himself balloon too much, I might bail. He didn't want to lose me. So he had enough self-control to keep it at a moderate level until I accepted his proposal last year. That was apparently the green light he needed to throw a restraint to the wind and start pursuing this fetish full speed ahead. So, before he was being careful to a degree, and then he asked her to marry him, and when she said yes, that's when I was like, hey, I got this, girl, I'm comfortable, I can do whatever I want, and now stuff my face for this bizarre, I might add, fetish of his about gaining a lot of weight. I don't get it, but there's so much weird, freaky shit that people are into in this world. Who the hell knows? And hearing this, when I first read it, I certainly was questioning a few things, whether this is bullshit or not. But for some reason, I am actually buying that this is a possibility here. But nevertheless, this guy's obviously doing this shit on purpose. She continues, I never had a single inkling of suspicion the entire time. I guess I can't blame myself for that because dramatic weight gain is usually for the reasons I assumed. Depression or stress or bad habits or just getting comfortable and not caring. You never hear of sexual motivations. I still feel like a complete and utter fool. Like I got played hard. This was not, and she put not in capital letters, what I thought I was marrying into. When, if ever, was he going to tell me? He claims he would have when the time was right. What does that mean? Next week? Doubt it. Years in the future, when maybe we have kids? More likely. Oh, and the reluctance to do anything requiring getting off the internet that I mentioned, that's because he's posting in forums and Discord fetish communities talking about it. All these people share weight gain tips and compare progress pictures. That's sick. That's disgusting. Of their bellies and write pornographic role-play stories. I'm truly disgusted. I've obviously been sat right next to him countless times while he gets off in his own little world. He has even discussed with random strangers how to keep me in the dark. Apparently the most common suggestion was play dumb and make it into a running joke. So there's my explanation for why he constantly dismissed anything I said. Unbelievable. This has been going on right under my nose for years. I really can't fathom how I could be so clueless, and that the person I thought I knew had the gall to not only intentionally make himself obese, but to hide his motivations from me, seek out advice on how to do it, and lie to me over and over when I attempted to talk about my worry. I expressed how I felt seriously betrayed, like our relationship had been built upon false pretense without my knowledge. He did apologize sincerely. He said he would try to lose weight. Do or do not, there is no try. That's what Yoda said, and it's dead on true. And try my ass. I asked why he's only saying that now. Why did he refuse to discuss, let alone change anything, all the other times I asked what was up? I'll tell you why, because he realizes there's a possibility that this girl's going to leave his ass. That's why. Now he's thinking this is serious. Leaving me to be confused and worried instead. He didn't have an answer. He just begged me to give him one more chance and promised he'd stop and get healthier. My problem is I don't know that I can believe that. And even if he follows through, I don't know if I can get over being lied to for years. I was so dumbfounded that I asked him to leave today. The conversation was last night. So I could collect my thoughts. He'll be back tomorrow night. 100% sure I want to call off the engagement. 80% sure I want to just bite the bullet and end the relationship. Fuck this. I absolutely love this man. Why do you have to do this? Well, okay, so based on the fact that this is real, you never know, there's a lot of people into weird, bizarre, freaky shit in this world. This guy, this is what gets him turned on, he's not going to change. Okay, he may lose a bunch of weight for her initially just so he can keep her because he probably realizes she's not joking around anymore. He may lose some weight, but doesn't mean that they get married and then he does it again. So who knows? But It'd be one thing if he gained a bunch of weight because he was seriously depressed, because he was at home during COVID was going on, and a lot of people did. A lot of people gained weight during those beginning months and all that. You know, shit, I even put on about an extra 8 pounds being at home, and I quickly chiseled that shit off once the summer came. But this, no, this is, he's doing it on purpose, like she said, and found out all this stuff. Given this situation, because it is different than the first story, I would tell this girl to get the hell out of it. This guy is fucked up. This guy's got problems, and move the hell on, okay? Because you can tell by her story here, and again, it's coming from her perspective, but from her story, she's pretty cool. She stuck with this guy when he was overweight to begin with and was still hooking up with him and all that. She was trying. She cooks. She's got a decent attitude, and she's really tried. But after all this has been going on, and the deceit and all that crap, and him posting this stuff on the internet, that's why he's never wanted to do anything. That's why he's addicted to the computer and all the time. This guy sounds like a goddamn bum, okay? And this girl obviously has her shit together, so But for this guy was contacting me saying, what should I do after all this? I tell him to get some goddamn therapy for what he's been doing, because obviously he's got some seriously damaging things that turn him on, this so-called fetish of his, you know, because putting on all that weight, all the health problems involved that he's going to have probably right now or certain down the road is going to happen, major problem. He needs to get some professional help. And then I'd tell him to hire a nutritionist to get him on an eating plan and at the gym. And I would be on his ass like a drill sergeant to get his life back in order. But this girl ought to bail. So, but anyhow, guys, these are two situations, although the second story was really weird, that can happen. So for you to do relationships and all that stuff, you got to stand up for yourself. You got to do what's best for you, because you can't make other people's problems your own, okay? And it also shows you what happens when people get comfortable and feel safe, and they got it made that you're not going to go anywhere. They let themselves go. They stop trying. And a lot of people do it on multiple levels, not just with their bodies, but in terms of treatment of you and trying and things like that. So you got to be the person you're with got to know always that, and this goes both ways for men and women, good quality men and good quality women, because there are women out there. There are still some women out there. There are actually good women out there. I mean, in today's world, we all know darn well it's gotten less and less, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Good quality people, you need to let the person you're with know that other people are attracted to you, and that if you push me too far, I'm out of there and I can replace your ass in a heartbeat. You don't say it, but obviously the way you show up will communicate that. So anyhow, I wish these two the best of luck and they move on with their lives, because these two are going to drag them down. You got to get the girl from the first story and the guy from the second story. They can get together and have their thing, and get the guy from the first story and the girl from the second story. They can get together and have a thing. Anyhow, guys, that's it for today. It's a long video, so I appreciate you sticking with me. Be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.